They will kill you. Seems threatening. But who is they? I don't know. We'll find out. Let's see. Starting with the IMDb plot. A woman takes a job as a housekeeper in a New York City high rise, unaware of the building's history of disappearances. Oh, you gotta do your research. She soon realizes the community is shrouded in mystery. All right. So, interesting stuff there. It doesn't tell us really the they part yet. We'll get to that shortly. But first, this one has been out for a little bit now, but it's still fairly new. So I'm going to try to kind of keep this spoiler free, but I'm not going to, I guess, promise anything. I will kind of give away the they a little bit just because it's kind of hard to talk about this otherwise. So if you really don't, haven't really seen the trailer or complete mystery to what this is, and you don't want to know who the they is, you may want to pass or just be aware. But yeah, so obviously the title's good stuff there, like the title, and I was kind of concerned, not concerned, but I guess why I wasn't, jumping at this at first, because I don't know, like for some reason I kind of thought this was an action movie to start, and in a way it is. I mean, you can kind of see there are definitely some fight scenes set aside in it, and does have a good action kind of movie kind of segment to it a couple of times there. But there's definitely horror as well, and it also mentions here dark comedy, one-person army action, which is weird. I'm not seen that before. Psychological horror, splatter horror, yeah, and then so forth. But yeah, at first I kind of thought, this seems, maybe like an action movie. But yeah, there's definitely a big time horror element to that, and that comes with the they part. But let's talk a little bit about what's going on here. So it starts off early on. You can see two young girls here, and they are, it looks like they're up to no good, but actually they're trying to hide, and they're trying to hide from, I guess, is their father, who beats them. It's a little bit abusive, and they've kind of tried to run away, so they end up in a store, but he finds them. And, they kind of escape the store, end up in the street, and in the process, the little bit of an older one, they're both sisters, ends up shooting the father, but then freaks out because she knows she's going to be in trouble, and as opposed to staying and helping her sister, kind of leaves her and runs away, but does get arrested and serves time. So then the movie kind of takes place, many years later. Both girls are older. It is going to focus a lot more on the older sister. And now, it kind of randomly kind of skipped forward there. And we see her taking this job in this building, and it seems a little odd at first, and like I said, how they kind of just jump to it, and she gets kind of introduced and so forth, and you're kind of wondering, this doesn't, what is really happening here, so quickly, and you don't know too much about her because they kind of skip forward. And this is one of those movies, as the movie kind of rolls on, it will go backwards, and it will take like a pause on a character or two and kind of rewind and show you, what went on to kind of lead to where they are at this moment. So it does do that. I don't know that that's not for everybody, but, they don't, make it a long process. It's kind of like a quick cut back and so forth. So, you don't get too thrown off and out of what is going on. So before she knows it, she kind of, gets settled in, goes in her room, and, it's, I don't know, it's just very strange, the setup and how this all kind of gets going. And, she seems to be, kind of getting settled in her room. But then before she knows it, she thinks that something is going on wrong in this room. She's looking around. And before you know it, these group of people start attacking her. And it seemed, very random. But to a little bit of a surprise. I mean, I guess if what's coming in this movie, it's not really a surprise. But just in what's happened so far, you don't know too much about her besides that opening scene. Um, she fends pretty well for herself, and you think that she has everything under control until she doesn't. She thinks that she's got the upper hand. She's basically taken out several people, and then is kind of ends up face to face with the person who's was showing her around and kind of introducing her to this house. And again, you think that she has the upper hand, and then they kind of flip it on you. And this is where the they part comes in. So if you don't really want to know what's going on with the they, this is where I'm going to kind of, slightly mention it, just because, it's almost hard to talk about the rest of the movie without the they. So I won't go into the whole deal, but let's just say the people in this building, a majority of them cannot die. And I'm not going to get into the reason why or whatever. You just have to watch the movie and to get that explanation. But basically, it kind of involves, her being the sacrifice of the moment, and them needing her to be that sacrifice, and her basically trying to survive it. There is another reason or two going on here, both for her being there and what is going on with the they and these people that basically are immortal. I will skip all of that. I'm not going to get into all that. I'll leave some things for you guys who have not seen the movie yet to watch and figure out and see what more is going on here. But yeah, it was kind of curious because I will say at first when you kind of finally see it, I was thinking, are they vampires? And then I'm like, okay, well, no, they're not vampires based on, one or two things that happened. And I'm like, okay, well, what are they? But yeah, it's just a simple thing of them being able to recreate. And like I said, there's a whole explanation. I'm not going to get into it. That is given for all that, and you'll see that. But it leads to pretty cool stuff because, although you see her kind of having to fight, these similar, I guess, was it 4, 5, 6 people several times. Every once in a while there's a little bit more people, but for the basics of it, she's fighting them because, every time she thinks she kills them, they come back. And, they have a good trick or two with that. There's one really interesting one with I'm not going to say that. I'll just leave it at B. But yeah, there's a couple of interesting things they do with that. They don't waste the opportunity. So I liked that. They created this thing where these people can come back every time you think they're dead. But they don't waste that opportunity because they could have made it really stupid. And, I think, or even repetitive in ways, like just killing the person the same way over and over. But I thought there was a couple of the deaths that they did pretty creatively and with how that person came back. One in particular, and I think you guys who've watched it or when you guys see it, you'll kind of know which one I'm talking about. So that was pretty cool. So in general, it's a cool concept, kind of thinking that, that they keep coming back. And, they're basically coming back in human form. So it's not like, they're coming back as creatures or they're creatures to begin with. Or, like I said, they were vampires and whatever and are hard to kill and so forth. They're zombies. And so, it is, something, a little bit different in a way. I don't remember seeing, anything kind of recent where, just what seems to be a basic human that just keeps coming back and trying to fight and so forth. Like I said, there's definitely some set-aside fight scenes in this. She's going to go and fight these people several times. And basically, I mean, if you want to call it like several rounds with these, generally same 5 or 6 people. And I thought that was pretty fun. They did a pretty good job. They slowed down in certain parts and does give you that action movie kind of feel to it. I'm not always for the slowdown thing, but I thought it was okay here. And I think also sometimes in this movie it doesn't take itself 100% seriously, and especially with these fight scenes, maybe it is a little weird and awkward at some points. And they go out of their way to spread some blood splatter there, and I love that. So I'm not going to complain about that. Clearly kind of fake, but like I said, I don't think they took themselves seriously, and we're just like, you know what? I think the people will appreciate the blood, even though what gives is clearly clearly a little bit of fake here, because you'll see every once in a while someone will per se, maybe get a body part chopped off, and it's kind of like they turn on the hose or they turn on the sprinkler. It's like kind of like a pause and then turn it on, and then it just shoots out all this blood. So, I thought that was a little bit funny, but also enjoyed it all because, you guys know me and I like the blood and guts and all that. So I enjoyed all the blood just going everywhere. It's just kind of like a hose of blood there. And they do that a couple of times. So that was kind of fun. And, even though I was like, okay, that's a little fake here. But we're gonna have some fun with it, and that's okay. So we'll let that slide because it was a lot of fun as well. I thought the young woman here who played the lead role, she did a pretty good job. She was, she had some moments of weakness there, but she fought her way through, and there are, like I said, I left a few things out, and there's maybe a twist or turn here that they try on you. Nothing huge. I think you'll kind of gather as this movie kind of rolls on and with what's happening and so forth. And, it gets a little exciting towards the end and when it's where it's going. A little weird, but also, fun as well. And, but I think you'll kind of know where that's, where it's going to end. As things start to wind down, I don't think that'll be a surprise for you guys. Even though they make it seem like it's going to be a twist here, but I think you guys have seen enough of these movies, probably knew the way that was going to roll out. But still kind of fun and interesting. It seemed like they left the door open for maybe more of this to come. Which I think I'd be in favor for. I think that I was okay with it enough and enjoyed it enough that if they wanted to do another round, I'd be all for it. I'm not sure totally the direction. I mean, they kind of left it there for you, but not completely sure where exactly they would go with it. But maybe they had something in mind when they ended it. So yeah, I really liked the movie. Tons of blood, some good fighting, and interesting use of the people coming back to life and so forth. So something, like I said, a little bit different than what's been seen for a while. And so with all that, I think I'm going to give this one 4 pools of blood. I liked it enough, and like I said, once you kind of gather that, it kind of starts off almost in a serious way with the situation with the sisters, but then as the movie kind of rolls on, you kind of see that the movie doesn't take itself 100%, seriously, especially with some of the kills and the blood and so forth. I just rolled with what they were giving me, and I definitely enjoyed it, and I wasn't sure because I wasn't sure, I wasn't 100% with. Believing with what people were saying and liking this movie. If they were saying it was true or not, and just looking here, 6.4 out of 10 on IMDb, a little over 16,000. So I guess enough people have seen it, so it seemed to be a decent score there. So yeah, I think if you guys are in for something with a little bit of action, a little bit of blood. And definitely a strong female lead here who's kicking ass, which, I think I mentioned it in kind of Ready or Not review, kind of growing more appreciation for these roles and just women kicking butt in these movies. And, wish we would get more of them. So yeah, And they're rolling the trailer here. And some interesting stuff here after seeing the movie. But yeah, I think if you're kind of into those kind of things, I think you'll enjoy the movie as well. So 4 pools of blood out of 5 for this one. And with that, horrorsgoryreviews.blogspot.com is where you can find all my reviews, written and video. Certainly tons of video reviews for a while now, so you can like and subscribe and do everything else that everybody wants to do here on YouTube. If not, no worries, it is okay. I thank you for your time regardless. Facebook, Blue Sky, information down below. And you can reach out to me there, talk horror. And if you have a review, something there, feel free to reach out. And in the comment section, once you guys kind of watch this movie, you have any thoughts, if you enjoyed it as much as I did, or maybe you hated it, feel free to share there as well. And with that, I'll catch you in the next review, horror fans.